All right, welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, our beautiful country, how we're going to fix this bad boy together. And as you guys filter in here, there are so many updates we've got to hit. Live voting is going on right now. I've got that. Bernie Sanders makes an appearance. I got that. And it all comes down to JD Vance. Quite candidly, this is the moment where he shines or he doesn't. Candidly, I've got that too. And of course, the updates on the actual HPA update with the short, where it is, what happened, and just cleared the Byrd rule and how did it do it. Everything will be linked in the description box below. And as you guys filter in here, make sure you hit that audio 5x5 video. Make sure everything is good because we've had some issues with YouTube live streaming. So I want to make sure that it is solid as we get this going. So what I'm going to do, guys, while you're filtering in, I'm going to just go ahead and post over here. Well, on X, I'll do it in a minute. But as you guys get in here, make sure you just hit that 5x5. It looks like the notifications are struggling. All right, testing 5x5, just making sure we are all good to go, and then we will dive in. Excellent. Looks like we are good to go. Sweet. All right, guys, as you're filtering in here, make sure you are sending this one out because legitimately it looks like YouTube isn't going to do it for us, so we might as well do it ourselves. Shocker among shocks. Let's get right into this, people. We got a lot of stuff to dive into. All right, so make sure you follow me at Braden LOA. If you guys are tracking, we are cruising. You guys are jumping on. We are almost at 21,600 followers on X. That is all because of you guys, and thank you so much. And the reach that we're being able to achieve because you guys are following on X is significantly massive. I mean, it's a really big deal, and great job on that. All right, let's get into this, people. We got some stuff to talk about. So, you guys are fully aware, all the shenanigans around the Hearing Protection Act and the short, the updates that have happened prior to this, got dropped by the Byrd bath, all the different shenanigans that have led us to this point. But the big update this morning is just a few moments ago, we actually had news that the Byrd bath cleared the tax reduction down to 0. Now, I'm going to show you that here in a second. That's the news of this morning. The votes are all going on in the Senate, so it's across the board consistently all day going to be what they call a vote-a-rama from probably about 8 to 10 hours of all the different individual proposals of which the Democrats are going to challenge all day. I've got the feed for you here, and I'll show you in a second. But that's what we're talking about, okay? So as you can see here, this is one of the most important pieces of the entire thing. President Trump breaks the silence on firing the parliamentarian. An unelected Senate staffer, the parliamentarian, should not be allowed to hurt the Republicans' bill. And they wants many fantastic things. No, this is what Donald Trump just sent out. An unelected Senate staffer shouldn't be able to do that. Okay, why is that significant? Well, people, that's significant because he's never spoken on this before. And if anything is going to happen with Trump, and again, I want to put the caveat way out there right now. I cannot tell you what's going to happen, okay? But if there's going to be anything happening to get this rectified back to suppressor and short delisting, it has to happen through JD Vance. JD Vance, his boss, is Donald Trump. Donald Trump says the parliamentarian's out of line. Where that goes, I do not know. But I can tell you that the VP Vance is going to be in the Senate today, and I'm going to show you the feed here in a second. Actually, I'll show you the feed now. This is the actual live feed from the Senate. He's going to be in there later today. Now, just so you are fully aware of his options when he decides or does not decide to do something. This is the moment, right? After this, it does not exist anymore. So JD Vance has the option to completely ignore the parliamentarian's advice and says, yeah, no, we're good. We're going to go ahead and put it in anyway, and then it passes reconciliation. That is the only step at this moment that can occur. Okay? So what would have to happen is Donald Trump would have to get with JD Vance and say, hey, after you get done of all these proposals and all these votes and all that stuff, I want you to go in there and I want you to put the HPA and the Short Act back in and say, parliamentarian, we're going to ignore you, along with a few other items that make my great, big, beautiful bill amazing. That's what would have to happen, and that's where JD Vance specifically sits on this precipice, okay? So he would have to do that right there. But let's continue. I got some other things for you. That was last night with Donald Trump, by the way. This right now just occurred. Senate HPA and short update. $0 NFA tax stamps for suppressors and short-barreled rifle or firearms, SBRs, SBSs, and AOWs clears the birdbath with the parliamentarian. That was 1 hour ago from GOA. As you can see, I posted on my X as well. What we're talking about right now is the changed language that has been moved down into the actual zero category for tax, right? Zeroed out the tax, but it's still registration. It's still all the normal NFA item, but there's no tax on it. So basically they cut down the transfer fee effectively. The $200 tax they removed, okay? When I'm reporting this, I'm not saying that's incredible, that's amazing, let's go bang it from the walls about the win. Okay, I'm just legitimately, I'm saying what is actually happening because this is important to the process, all right? So, with this being now down to zero and out of the birdbath, and the parliamentarian granted it, here's what effectively just happened. The parliamentarian wouldn't allow the HPA and the Short Act to delist suppressors and short barrels from the NFA because it wasn't a tax. And then to smooth over the feathers and the Republicans, they put together another proposal, and they basically said, well then, because it's not a tax, we'll lower the tax. That made it through. There's really no other thing that you need to see in this other than it's quite obvious what's happening right now. This was a partisan decision because it's obviously a tax. All the other taxes went through, all the other taxes were adjusted. It was a tax. She just didn't like the idea that it was guns. Democrats got to her. Cool, good talk. That's exactly what happened. There is no reason to go down the road of what if, maybe that. No, doesn't matter. The only thing that we're at right now is JD Vance. JD Vance has to go underneath President Trump's orders and then go down to the Senate, and he would have to say, put it back in as it originally was. We're going to ignore your recommendation. That's the only way that it happens. Okay. Now, it's going to be complicated because the other provision, cutting it down to zero, has already gone through the birdbath. So it's going to be 50 plus 1. That's going to be in with the rest of the actual Senate Big Beautiful Reconciliation Package. It's in there, right? So now that it's in there, it would have to be effectively voted down by 60 people, and that's not going to happen. So that's kind of where we're at on the actual HPA, and I will look at your comments here in 1 second. It's kind of hard to do while I'm also walking you through this. Now, I'm going to go through a few other people who have said a very similar announcement. John Comerford, this guy is NRA. Senate parliamentarian has approved moving the NFA tax from $200 to zero for suppressors, short-barreled firearms, and AOWs. The next step is the passage in the U.S. Senate. If they aren't willing to overrule her, the Senate needs to get this bill done and back to the House. Now, this is the important piece to this. You have to understand the next step in this process is what's called a conference vote. Okay? The conference vote is basically the Senate takes the original bill from the House, right? House passes it, goes to the Senate. Senate tweaks it, does all these different things to it, and then sends it back to the House for conference or agreement, okay? If they agree and they don't change anything, it goes to President Trump's desk. It becomes law when he signs it. If they change something, it goes back to the Senate. Now, in a normal world, we would be in a position where I could see that happening. But we are 4 days away from Trump's determined date of when he wants it done and the deadline that they set. So I don't know what's going to happen with that in the House. But right now, they are voting on it in the Senate. And I'm not going to play the audio because it literally, you'll go to sleep immediately. You might be operating a vehicle for your own safety. But that's where we're at. The Senate has to pass it, which will probably happen at some point today. The taxes will be cut down to zero on SBRs, SBSs, AOWs, and suppressors, and then it'll go out into the House. Now, that's what they were just talking about right here. Get back to the House. Now, Washington gun law. This is a good buddy of mine, Bill. Oh, joy. We got the parliamentarian's blessing. Now, of course, there's some sarcasm in there, which I'm totally here for, and totally appropriate, by the way. But this appears to be where we are going. Again, referencing that same post I just showed you. Taylor Rhodes, this is affiliated with NAGR. Half measures don't cut it. The NFA is an unconstitutional relic that should be gutted entirely. Definitely agree with that sentiment. $0 tax stamps still mean registration, still mean control. Very true. That is an absolutely correct statement. His stance is full deregulation or bust. And I can respect that opinion. In fact, I'm curious. I'm going to put a poll over here, guys, and I want you guys to jump in here. Clickbait title. It's literally exactly what I'm saying. So here is the thing I want to ask you. Go for broke. So I'm just going to go for broke / all or nothing. or take the tax reduction? All right, I'm going to start that poll. You guys can jump into that, and I'm curious what the actual poll says, and I'll share that here in a second. So, actually, this is a really good guys, if you're used to these lives, I want to open it up. You guys jump over here into the comments. I will try my very best to read them all, but one just stuck out to me. Freedom Cat, who is a regular viewer of the channel, I'm just tired of the Republicans caving over and over. With House, Senate, and President, we still cannot win. This says everything. Vote accordingly. Honestly, I don't think that that's a bad sentiment. I think that is a very respectable approach. You're not overly angry. You're not overly emotional and erratic. That's just factual. Now, here's the one caveat that I will say, and this is not an excuse to anything that is going on. This is honestly just the brass tacks of something that's very important to understand. They don't have 60 votes in the Senate, and the filibuster is what's preventing them from pushing forward their agenda, right? It prevents the Democrats, it prevents the Republicans. That is standard status quo. Because they don't have that 60, they're using reconciliation to push as much through as they possibly can. Now, the argument is we're trying to get everything through the reconciliation, but the parliamentarian basically blocked the removal of suppressors and the SBRs. So we did the best we could. My issue is more so in that we did the best we could part of that, because there's other areas which we've covered that were put back into the bill, demanding the liberals, get on record. Didn't do it for us. Now, this could be strategy, could just be placation, could be pathetic, could be a lot of things. But that is a very important piece to this. I'm actually really curious what you guys all say here, because we've got about 1,500 people in the chat right now. In the view right now. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, and most important growth thing that we're doing right now on X, guys, follow me at Braden LOA when it pops up. There we go. Because this is a emerging market, and the amazing potential of this and us working together on that is off the charts. All right. So I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna check that poll, and I'm gonna let that poll keep going because I'm really curious. Make sure you guys vote in that. Now let's go to this next one. This is a little bit of a shift, and again, I will open up live Q&As, and I will have longer conversations while I let this Senate play, just so you guys kind of know what's happening. If you want to, let me know in the chat over there. But I want to jump over to something that Bernie Sanders is saying. This is really, truly fascinating. I got a super chat before I do that. Will W. I'd rather pay $200 and have no illegal registry than pay $0 and have everything registered and restricted. You know what? That is a really good way to say that. I really like that. I feel the exact same way. I would rather have $200 and have none of that crap versus $0 and all of that crap. That's a really good way to say it. You know what? You get a heart. I like that a lot. That's a good point. All right, another super chat. Posting on X now. Thank you, Scott. And yeah, guys, please send this out because the YouTube algorithm did not send out notifications. Like, woo! All right, let's get into this guy. I got to say something about Bernie Sanders here. Watch this. This is about a minute-long clip. Just bear with me. Listen, there's a point.
The Republican Party has not just become a right-wing extremist party. In many cases, it's become like a Stalinist party, a cult of the individual. And what the party is about now is that Trump says something, and if you have an independent thought, if you disagree with Mr. Trump, if you think maybe what he's proposing doesn't work for your constituents, you're out of here.
All right. So, guys, just to put this in full-on perspective, we're going to shift away from the HPA updates for a second, and I'll come right back to them. But put this in perspective. Like, this is actual real life. The actual socialist is accusing the Republicans of being Stalinistic. Again, overt, self-avowed socialist upset about Stalinism. The levels of irony, I don't know if you can get much deeper. Actually, no, you could. He's got 3 lake houses, And, he's a socialist and thinks the rich are evil. That's why he doesn't say millionaires anymore, because he is one. He says billionaires now. Got to keep on leveling that up. Anyway, let's keep going. He's talking about Tom Tillis getting kicked out for being a rhino and a gun controller. But, let's not get facts in the way. Let's keep going.
Raise your voice, and in 5 minutes, they will be announcing a primary to your election. So what happened is Tillis thought that this was a bad piece of legislation for North Carolina. He's right. It was. And the result of that is Trump said, good, we're going to primary you. You have the same thing in the House, with the very few people who are prepared to disagree with Trump. So right now, the Republican Party people are just afraid to dissent. And all you have to do is say, I love President Trump. I will do anything and everything he says. Hey, that's what being a candidate in the Republican Party is today.
All right, so you can see the insane silliness that is that. But I see a chat over here, and I really want to jump into this one because this is a great chat. You guys nailed. Hold on a second. Here we go. Jay Sauer right here. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it stationary. $0 will not help those now being denied 2A rights for an arrest and a minor. No, that's not the right one. Dang it. Sorry, hold on. There we go. Kay Whitney. There we go. That's the one. This is a trap. And I want to know what you guys think about this one. If they lower the tax to $0, then Republicans can never try to remove SBRs and suppressors from the NFA in a budget bill again. It's only a win for gun controllers. That is an interesting perspective. Okay, let's dive into that for a second. And guys, throw chats over here because I'm going to leave this live open for a while I go to the Senate. I'm going to break that down and just leave that playing because this is the live view of the Senate. It's an interesting perspective, Kay Whitney, because if the budgetary argument was that it's a tax and you lower the zero to tax, that does make sense that you would not be able to go back again and say, hey, this is a tax. Because if there's no tax being collected, then there's no tax to be repealed. That I can see that. On the flip side of that, and this is an important piece to that, if there's no tax being collected, what power are you using to infringe upon our rights? Because again, I've said it multiple times in the lead up to this. The 1934 testimony from the Attorney General around this, the NFA, was that the power of taxation was the only way that they could take the rights from us. That was the only way it was constitutional, in their own words, right? So if you take away that taxation, where does that actually land you? I genuinely don't know. But on the same time, to your point, it might be closing one door and opening another. That's a very good point, though. You guys are on it. This is one of my favorite things about doing these lives, because you guys always bring up really great points, and they always lead to really good conversation points. You guys are roasting Bernie. That's hilarious. Okay, cool. So let's go to the next piece here. I can't do him again. Okay, here we go. This is another important piece. And again, this is all tying together, guys. If you're just now tuning in, we are watching the live updates of the Senate. The suppressors and the SBRs have all been taken to a $0 tax. It has passed the Byrd rule. It is now in the proposed legislation. It is going to be voted on, which is why we're live streaming it here. I'll turn the audio on in a bit, and then we'll kind of just have a little Q&A conversation with ourselves. But effectively, what we're doing right now is we're just kind of laying out the groundwork of what's actually happening when these people screw us in the gun world, right? If you watch the video that I did yesterday, I showed you how it was all a game, right? The Dan Crenshaws and the Medicaid for illegals, like we're going to put that right back in, even though it was ruled out by the parliamentarian, because it's politically beneficial. Excuse me. Shortly after that, Tom Tillis got kicked out of the Senate. He's going to basically not run for re-election. The rhinos are getting ousted. Check this out. Retiring. This is from Eric Dowdry. Representative Don Bacon, Senator Tom Tillis, Senator Mitch McConnell, all out. In huge trouble, Senator John Cornyn, Republican of Texas, to Ken Paxton. Do you know what those votes also, or those people also have in common? They voted for the Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. They undermined the red hardcore gun vote. It went away. Look at them. This is a really important piece. You guys have to understand how important and powerful you guys are. And we're going to start shifting the culture. Something's dropping tonight, which I can't really allude to, but it's part of a movement that we're creating, and you guys are going to love every second of it. But hang in there with me. Tonight that will be announced. All right, super chat from NL. Not a victory. Remind them all our votes and our donations to gun groups can disappear just as fast as the HPA and Short Act did. You know what? That is a completely accurate statement. It's your money. Put it where you believe it's being used. I understand that completely. You saw something very similar in the past with the NRA. You saw something very similar with Republican voting, donations. You saw all sorts of things like this. When you don't feel like your money is going to the right place, I get it. I understand. Not a victory. So this is an interesting point as well. God, you guys, I love these live conversations we have. So there's two ways of thinking on this, and that's kind of what I wanted to broach here. I'm going to publish this. I'm going to end this poll here. I want to show you the results. So we put a poll up to say, do you guys want to go for broke, or do you want to accept the $200 tax stamp? This right here, that's the actual. You're looking at the metrics of the audience right now. 2,200 people watching currently. Go for broke, all or nothing has an 88% share. Take the tax reduction is 11%. That's on 879 votes. So if I'm looking at that and I'm taking part in a 2A space and I have some sort of affiliation to the political process, I'm taking a note of that number. That is a very big number. 90% to 11%, or 90-10 roughly. That's actually more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be closer to like 75-25, but 90-10, that is a pure result in politics. That's like a guaranteed slam dunk, shut the door, it's over. And here's some more of this language. Michael Peters, if we settle, it shows our weakness. I could argue, I could see both arguments that are being made. One side could say we're settling and we're showing our weakness. The other side says we're strategic and we're playing the long game. I can see both arguments. I completely can. They both have validity. In Braden, I trust. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. No. Constitution, rights, principle, Bill of Rights. That's what we trust. You. I don't want that kind of pressure. That's too much. I can't do it. Yep, I've been tweeting and calling and letting them know the primaries are coming. Excellent. Good. Will says consider your target audience as well. Yeah, that's the point. It's a pure audience, and it's that pure of a result. That's what I'm saying. Anyway. 11%. I can't read that one. I don't want to dive into that controversy, but that's a funny one. Pork chop. That's funny. All right, let's go over here. Let's continue on how rhinos tried to screw us and they're going to get smoked. All right, this guy right here. I think this is a Democrat operative, but I want to show you what they're saying about Tom Tillis getting smoked out for being a rhino. Okay, keep in mind, Tom Tillis lost support because he supported gun control. Tom Tillis is an establishment hack in the Republican Party. He's on the way out because everyone sees what he is. They're trying to couch it to something else. Check this out. And they're going to try to make hay from this. Pushing out Tom Tillis basically guaranteed a Democrat Senator Roy Cooper in 2026. You could not be more wrong. Could not be more wrong. Add this to the long list of times I've watched my fellow Republicans shoot themselves in the foot to blow winnable races. Oh, he's a Republican. Excuse me. That could not be more wrong. You know why I say that? And this is an important piece to this. The last election that had a senator from North Carolina, it went so heavily red that it was over in one of the first races possible. Ted Budd is his name, and he owns FFLs. So this whole narrative of like, oh my God, gun people. No, shut up. Like, that's just idiotic. I got some super chats to get to. Hold on a second. Gajuki says, I'm blocking anyone pushing the $200 pizza party. You get a heart. That's clever. I get it. I completely understand. And by the way, if you guys are just now tuning in, you didn't see my short today, and you aren't following my X yet. By the way, you need to at Braden LOA. When I'm covering these things, I'm not advocating for a successful woohoo pizza party. I'm merely trying to tell you everything that's going on because it's important to what's happening. Okay, that's why I'm doing that. This is a great super chat right here. God, you guys are on it. Rajimic for $10. How can a tax collect no money but force registration? Yep, exactly. That is going to be the next question. I would be extremely surprised if you do not see more on that, assuming that everything goes the way that it is going right now in this room, of which we are watching the live feed for, which I'll turn the audio up in a second. It would not surprise me at all, in the least, to see some action in that general direction very, very quickly. But, you know, I'm just a guy on the internet. I don't know stuff. Yeah, so there's them mulling around the Senate chamber. Let's continue, and then I'll let you hear the hubbub, you know, as we do. That's not it. This is it. Come on, X, I believe in you. All right, this one is interesting. So remember that feed I just showed you a second ago from Bernie Sanders, where he's calling the Republicans Stalinistic? You want to know why Roy Cooper and the Democrats are not a lock for Tom Tillis, the rhino, being kicked out and taking that seat? Because of people like this who refuse to go away. Watch this. This is literally a previous rep who got smoked out from the Democrat Party for being too extreme from New York. And then he's saying this on MSDNC. Check this out.
Brown people from different backgrounds. The word socialism is weaponized as some
I know the audio failed. Hold on a second.
brown people from different backgrounds. The word socialism is weaponized as some kind of, anti-American thing. And, Senator Gillibrand and others seem to have fallen victim to that level of ignorance and miseducation.
All right. You have to understand. I'm going to do a little plug right here real quick. If you guys have been watching the channel for about 5 months now, 6 months now, you would know that there is a dim civil war going on between the progressives, the far left, and the middle-of-the-road moderate Democrat establishment. This is Jamal Bowman saying that socialism is not a dirty word and it's been mismarketed and it's just un-American. Hey, guess what? It is un-American. It is socialistic, and the far left is coming out and showing you who they are. That's why this is important. Bernie Sanders said Stalinistic is bad for the Republicans. Jamal Bowman gets out there and said socialism's a cute little word that's been misrepresented by Democrats and Republicans. Guys, I'm telling you, this is why this is important. And I'll wrap back to the point we're here for in a second. These are important pieces. Same thing. I don't care about this part anymore. This one was a Republican senator Democrat senator last night. Good God. All right, I got a couple super chats I have to catch up to because I don't like getting behind on these. Randall, Old Buick, says, dump Todd Young. Okay. Sounds good to me. All right, another super chat from Pork Chop. Braden, this is our Super Bowl moment, plain and simple. We don't want to compromise because we may not make it back in our lifetime. That is, honestly, I understand that sentiment. I do. I think that all the energy and the angst that we're experiencing together online in this, in the 2A space, is because of that very reason. You guys are articulating it very well. I think that a lot of people share this sentiment. You guys can let me know in the chat over here. A lot of people think that this is the only chance that we have to gut the NFA like this. And I understand that. I do. I see that. I get where that perception exists. And I can't tell you the future. I can tell you amazing things are coming in the future, but I can't tell you what or when. So I understand that sentiment. A lot of people feel like it's the Super Bowl and that we are down in the fourth quarter on the fourth down, and I get it. I totally get it. Right now, if you're just now watching, the only move that we have really at this point is JD Vance to walk into this chamber and to say, yeah, parliamentarian, you're dumb. My boss, Donald Trump, said this yesterday, and now because he said that, I'm going to go ahead and just make this go away, and we're going to go back to the original Hearing Protection Act and Short Act. That's the only card left on the table. I mean, they could always fire the parliamentarian, but then that just makes a whole thing that's not conducive to the timeline. It's JD Vance or bust at this point. And also, if you guys are just now tuning in, it was truly fascinating. 88% of you guys to 11% of you said, go for broke, take all or nothing, don't take the $200 tax stamp win. I thought that number would be different. I am truly interested by that. All All right, another super chat from Will W. 1984 call. They want their doublespeak back. That's very true. That's very true. Paul, this is a great question. Thank you for these super chats, guys. Paul says, can't they reintroduce the HPA in short via an amendment? Why is no one asking for that? The reason that no one is asking for that is because it would take 60 votes to get it added in over the parliamentarian. That circumvents the entire point of the reconciliation process that we've been going through for the past 2 months. So if they were to basically say, let's just go ahead and put it in there and go around anyway and get the 60 votes to accept it, you'd have to have Democrats voting for it. And that's not going to happen, right? That's the whole point. That's why they're not doing it in the Senate. Now, in the House, again, I want to reemphasize, I cannot tell you what's going to happen. Like, see me? I am not predicting the future. But in the House, they do have the ability to add things back in and adjust and manipulate things how they want. They have it. It's there. So that's the best thing that I could tell you on that point. But in the Senate, it's kind of a closed deal, which is why the Byrd bath and the parliamentarian and all those things are there. That's a very important piece of this. Doc Stark's Place with a super chat for $10 says, what's going to happen when somebody gets busted for not having the $0 tax stamp? Probably, and I would have to look at this to know for 100% sure, but my initial gut reaction would be the exact same consequences would be in place. They didn't remove any of the consequences, and they didn't remove any of the registration or the filing or the paperwork or anything. It's a very good point. Maybe someone didn't get their free piece of paper. That's a valid point. Perfect. Chris just got here for the $5 super chat. Just got here and missed it. Where do we sit right now? If it were to pass the second, what do and don't we get? Okay, excellent recap, amazing timing. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. We are pushing that freedom toward every single day, even in light of Republican leveraging our rights for their own political power, of which they will pay for, by the way. And of course, make sure you hit at Braden LOA on X, because we are generating almost 3 to 4 times the impressions on X for our cause than we are on YouTube. Just saying. You guys are doing incredible stuff, and I have almost 600,000 subs on YouTube, 22,000 almost here, and we're double, quadrupling, tripling the numbers. So you're doing something right. Anyway, let's keep on going. Back to your question. Where do we sit right now? Currently, right now, if you guys are just now tuning in, this just happened a few moments ago. The HPA in the short update where the tax stamps were removed down to 0. They were basically pushed straight down to 0. All the registration is still in place. Everything, the system is exactly the same. It's just a $0 tax stamp now. Okay, so that passed the Byrd bath, and that is now in the provisions. Once it's in the provisions, it's going to get voted on by these guys that are doing this right here. So that's why we're doing this live stream. I'm just going to keep it feeding, just like that. But that's where we're at right now. If it were to pass right this second, as nothing were to change, where it is currently stated, it would be a $0 tax stamp on suppressors, SBRs, SBSs, and AOWs. So those 4 things would have a 0 tax stamp, but still a tax stamp. Okay? Registration stays in place. All of those things are still current. And thank you for asking for the update. That is awesome. All right. Paul MVN says, why isn't GOA asking for that? I assume from the previous question. Paul, GOA is still with the current bill in the Senate, and that's why you're seeing all the messaging coming from the Senate. If something were to change and there would be pressure to be put into the House, they would shift into the House. GOA is exceptionally good at details, and they are exceptionally good at the communication with their subscription base for their members and also the public. So the second that there's a shift, you will know that it's happening. They are very good about that. All right. Scott Nearing. Oop, I saw you for a super chat. Hold on, I got to get to that super chat. I cannot miss these things. Man, you guys are flooding this text, the chat thread. Love it. They are forgetting the power of the internet, says Scott. They are forgetting the power of the internet, and we are about to unleash that so hard tonight. I cannot wait to show you guys what we've been working on for 2 years. We are going to drop it tonight, and we're going to shift the culture so hard away from these Republicans and these Democrats, they aren't even going to know what's going to hit them. I am so excited to show you. All right, IP Freely. Got me to say it. Nice job. Super chat for $5. No tax stamp paired with some vague future legal argument is just a coping mechanism. Do you guys agree with that sentiment? I think that's a valid approach to that. I think it's not I don't necessarily think it's a coping mechanism. I think it's definitely what's the best way to say that? It's not a coping mechanism. It would definitely be a consolation versus a coping mechanism. That would be my initial gut take on that. But I mean, that's just my initial gut. But I appreciate the super chats, guys. IP, I'm not going to say the last name again. Thank you again. All right, another super chat from Randall, Old Buck. Todd Young, Indiana, supported the last gun bill. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Thank you. Correcting me from an earlier one. VG Hammer, $5 super chat. Couldn't the removal of the $200 tax add some new arguments to the pending Supreme Court cases? It really depends on which one you're talking about. If you're talking about the AWB cases that are still percolating, thanks Kavanaugh, I don't think that would really apply. Suppressor cases, potentially, but it might be outside the scope of what they're talking about. Honestly, I'd have to dive really deep in with a few different people on that one because I don't know how the removal of the NFA would really aid in a lot of those conversations. I'm sure it could somehow, but I'm not 100% sure how it would. All right, got a couple more super chats. Guys, you guys are being so generous, and I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. You guys are awesome. And also, this is a very important piece. The things that you were bringing up and we're having a conversation around, someone might also have that same question. So, like, you guys are killing the game. Keep it going. Hallows Snack Bar. It's a $10 super chat. If they remove the tax, then it becomes a simple registry. Couldn't we sue federally that a registry is illegal and Pam Bondi refuses to defend it? Yes. I would say greater than 50% yes. That's all I can really allude to at that, but you get a heart. All right, Kenneth Anderson, $5 super chat. Excuse the ignorant question, but if the House says no to the bill, do you think JD or Thune, with pressure from Trump, will then overrule? Thune and JD don't have a say in the House at all. So that goes back to Speaker Johnson. The volleyball goes back over to him. He would be the one to push either House members to or against. And JD Vance and Thune wouldn't have a say again until it comes back to the Senate for a conference vote. That wouldn't really apply in this scenario. All right, super chat. John Wynn for $9.99. I hope VP Vance does it. We have never been so aligned. Okay, John, you are a champion among champions. Yes. We have never been more aligned in the 2A space than we are right now. And I'm going to be vulnerable here for a second. The number one thing that I fear the absolute most in the long term, outside of this fight that we're dealing with right now, is us losing this unity that we have and squandering a really good opportunity to capitalize on that unity because everyone's unified. All 2A groups are unified for the most part. The politicians seem to be bending to our will in the House. Senate's a different story, but in the House, they seem to be bending to our will. And there's a lot of things that are going for us on the positive on the broad spectrum, right? This is still a kick in the nuts. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to really illustrate it's not happy about this. I'm not happy about this. But, oh look, Tammy Duckworth. There she goes. But that's a very good thing. We have never been aligned. This aligned, that is correct. And we're going to build on that too. All right. Let's keep on going down. I think I just caught up with all the super chats. Nope, did not. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. I got to make sure I don't miss any of them. Okay, cool. Sweet. Here we go. All right. You guys are burning the chat up. And you guys are awesome. Ryan, for a $2 super chat, says $0 tax stamps will lead to long wait times again. Now, that will happen. No, that is almost a certainty. Because if you look at it, you're looking at about a 20 to a 30% reduction in cost overall end of the day cost to the customer base. Yeah, you're going to see a significant boost to suppressor purchases. Michael Vernier, $10. Give California back to Mexico. Problem solved. Yeah, that would be true. Don't be a Karen. Amazing name. $4.99. Appreciate all the hard work you're putting in. Looking forward to showing the power of the people in the midterms. FAFO. Thank you very much for the support. I appreciate you very much. Don't be a Karen. And speaking of the midterms and all the things going forward, guys, I'm so excited to show you what we're going to do tonight. We are going to change the culture with something that we're releasing tonight. And we have got all the experience, the technical experience, the creative experience, the distribution experience, the talent experience. We have everything lined up to do exactly that. We're going to make every single election an FAFO, and we're going to have so much fun doing it. And you guys are going to be directly involved, so stay tuned for tonight. All right, next super chat. Simper Gumby. 1090 or 999. What's to stop them from reasoning the tax back in the future or even increasing it above $200? It seems they think the money's the part we care about. That's a very good assessment, Simper. I cannot tell you what's going to happen in the future. I honestly don't know if the Democrats would find that really worth it, because at the end of the day, they also understand that it doesn't really do anything. It's all been political gamesmanship. And it would actually cost them political capital on something that wouldn't really have a payoff for them. Because at the end of the day, the $200 for an NFA tax stamp when the NFA registration is still there and their whole points control, I don't know if they would do it. But again, I can't speak for them. I can't guarantee that. But that's a very good question. I don't want them to do it, but you know that I'll be here fighting the whole damn time if they try. All right, AR-15 with a super chat. AR-15 Dreamin' Rivera, $2. No compromise, huh? I assume, talking about, well, yeah. Maybe time to NRA the GOA. I honestly can say I don't know if that's an accurate assessment. I can honestly say that every single gun rights group that we've had involved in this fight, there's been 4. There's GOA, and I'm just telling you the stuff that I can personally vouch for. There's GOA, there's NRA, there's ASA, which is the American Suppressor Association, and then there's NAGR. Those 4 have been the primary leads on this. Okay, all 4 of them have been in complete and total unity behind the push to get the suppressors delisted and the short barrel rifles delisted. Every single one of them. I can tell you that for verifiable fact. I think that there is a communication around strategy right now and around technical approach to this that is being perceived as something other than it is. Right? I'm not doing anything other than saying I can vouch personally that all 4 groups went pedal to the metal for 5 months. Personally, I can personally tell you that. So, I mean, even the NRA was involved in this one, which I made many videos where I literally said, even the NRA, like what? In full transparency. All right, let's get in here. Okay, so super chats look like they've calmed down for a second, so I can show you the clip I want to show you next. Okay, sweet. I'm going to jump over here and show you this clip real quick because I've got this one on deck that I wanted to show you. So this is a Democrat senator last night talking about the suppressor removal, okay, delisting and all of the SPRs. This is an actual sitting senator, and I, honest to God, think that we need to require senility test, intelligence test, and overall just brain function test. Okay, listen to this guy. This is bananas.
$1.1 billion for gun makers who will be able to sell silencers, sawed-off shotguns, short barrel rifles, and other very dangerous weapons and components tax-free, making our streets more dangerous for police and for the American people. And indeed, especially for the police, because they're the first responders. They're the ones that are typically going to the door, wondering if the person behind that door has an automatic weapon or some other weapon designed not to hunt or shoot, but to kill.
Just going to bring my mic over because the audio feed stopped. What? So this is a sitting Democrat senator who is talking about the HPA and the Short Act and how cutting the tax down to zero is now doing that. Has nothing to do with full autos at all. Has nothing to do with weapons of war. Has nothing to do with anything that he just said. The reason that I show you this clip is because they literally only operate off of a set amount of talking points that are approved over and over and over and over again. It doesn't have to be related to the conversation. I'm just going to say it over and over and over again. And because I said it over and over and over again, you're going to believe it. That's exactly what's happening. It is literally how you brainwash people. Just keep on saying the exact same thing on message, on point, over and over and over again, and you'll be fine. You want really great examples of that? Remember when Biden was inaugurated? The big, bold, beautiful, the big, bold moves, the big, bold actions. It was every single word was big, bold actions. Remember when Kamala Harris was going for president? That worked out. Remember that? It was all pride and joy and so happy, so joyful, joy, right? That's what they all do. Now, luckily for us, we have thinking brain cells and we can get around that crap. But for the people who don't pay attention, just saying, there were a lot of people who actually voted for Kamala. All right, we got some super chats here, which is a whole different level of concern. All right, there's a super chat. IP, I'm not going to say your full name this time. You're not going to get me again. All right, I got some super chats I got to get to. All right, make sure I'm not missing one. No, good. I'm glad I went back up here. There's a bunch up here. We're going to go through these guys because this is, here we go. This is a really good conversation piece when you guys are bringing up these points because we can talk about them. Jeremy Justice for $5 said, this is absolutely huge if they remove the $200 tax stamp. This opens the doors to actually get the NFA to be ruled as unconstitutional. That is absolutely one line of thought, Jeremy, 100%. There's the other line of thought that says that's a pipe dream. And there's the one line of thought that you're on that says, yep, it's the way we open the door. I mean, I can see the skepticism and the cynicism, but I can also see that this could be the way to do it. So I can't tell any one person that they're wrong for feeling a certain kind of way, but I can see both of those avenues being opened up. And I'm going to actually jump back over to the Senate so you can see what the little Congress critters are doing. Let me get up to date for you. Boop. Oh, look, there's Tom Tillis right in the middle of that frame. Oh, poor Tom. Bye, Tom. Nice knowing you. Anyway, back to the other super chats I've got for you guys. Garrett. Oh, Garrett. 888. Sure. $5 super chat. So can the House add back in the full HPA and short then JD overrule in the Senate? Yes. That is a viable possibility. There's Susan Collins in the pink. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it is possible. God Guns Games, $10 super chat. Is it too late for Vance to step in and override? Do we have any chance to get rid of this unconstitutional registration? The only chance at this point would be JD Vance. He would have to step in and say, my boss just said this last night. I've got it pulled up for you guys right here. The parliamentarian is overstepping. And then JD Vance comes in and says, so Papa Trump wants to get this put in the regular way and deal with it. That's exactly what would happen. Now, it hasn't happened since 1975. Just to give you an idea. It's 50 years ago. So let's continue. But there's definitely precedent for it, and there's a lot of people who are like, you couldn't do this, JD. And then once these chats open up again, I will absolutely screw down. Here we go. Lopez Padro, $5 super chat. This community has not been this excited since the invention of sliced bread. Yes. Accurate. I can personally vouch for being on the front lines of this. I can 100% vouch for that. And honestly, I'm going to give, you got 3,000 people in here watching this right now. I'm going to give each and every one of you massive props for how you handled yourselves in this execution. You guys called, you guys emailed, you guys posted on X, you tweeted about it, you shared it on Facebook, you made all the effort that you possibly could, and you left it all on the field. And I know you all did. And I'm proud of each and every one of you guys because you did it with that background thought of, is this going to happen or not? And that took a lot to overwhelm that guard. So I see you, and you did a great job on it. All right. Race Kelly for $5 super chat. Remember, you can have an upper and a and a thing sent to your house. Just don't get caught. You're trying to get me in trouble, Race. I see you. I see you. I appreciate the super chat. All right, IP. Not reading your whole name again. At the end of the day, when they try to spin this as a win, we need to respond loud and clear. We're pissed. This isn't a victory. It's a betrayal, and we won't be quiet about it. Well, and that kind of justifies, that's the wrong word. That kind of backs up the previous polling that I did. If you guys were not tuned in earlier on, I did a poll that amongst this audience that said, hey, do you guys say just go all or nothing, go for broke, and say screw it? Or take the $200 tax stamp that's getting down to zero. And the split was actually higher than I thought. It was 88% to 11%. 88% said go for broke and accept nothing or full victory. 11% said take the win, battle another day. That's effectively what the poll said. So honestly, as I said when it happened, that number surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be that high, but it was. And if you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. We are just sitting here watching the Senate. I'm trying to employ the most entertaining value that I can while we watch a bunch of old people mill around a blue floor that I've seen forever. And of course, follow me at Braden, LOA, right here on X, because we are growing like crazy. And I hope that you guys are a part of that because we are making some moves. All right, let's keep going here. Super chat from Scott. It's going to come through in a second. There we go. I think GOA has something up their sleeves. Completely possible. They are very, very astute and very good at what they do. I mean, I'm wearing the hat, so they got to be, right? Oh, man, I just missed a super chat. Come back. Sorry, I got to get a little voice refresher. Hold, please. Oh, there we go. There we go. There's that melodious sound of freedom. When you guys, just so you know, funny thought, when you guys grind real hard on the chat like that and you just consistently push it through and push it through and push it through, the chat actually gets overwhelmed and shuts down. You guys are doing incredible work. JJDD says, just showed up. Did the tyrants betray us again? I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even say it's... I don't really view it as the tyrants betraying us again. It's more like a Marie Antoinette thing for me. It's more like they want that freedom, but here, let them eat cake kind of vibe. I don't know. That's me. That's just me, specifically. But, you know, like I say all the time, I'm just a guy on the internet. You can't say Brandon Herrera for president and Kentucky Ballistics for VP is a bad idea. That would be a party. I would like to serve in that administration. I like both those guys. They're both nice guys. All right, Dave with the super chat. I apologize for not having any excitement over the stupid tax reduction. Not when we are still beholden to registering and going through a process as if we are criminals when exercising our rights. I cannot argue with that sentiment. It's a valid sentiment. NL with the $10 super chat said, thank you, Brother Braden, for your time and effort. Hey, this is the new battlefield, baby. We are warriors of our rights, and I appreciate each and every one of you being here with me through this entire saga, because literally, if I wrote a book on this, it would be a long book, and it would sell, because the drama behind the scenes that was going on at the same time, whew, this was a thing. $5 from Will Crump. Why does Reed give a crap about cops? Dems are the party of defund the police. Very true. They want subjects, not armed citizens. I can't argue with that sentiment either. That is a valid point. I'm just going to turn the audio on so you guys can actually hear what I'm hearing. It's literally just a low hum, which you probably can't even pick up, and then they're going to be like, Chris, oh, look, there's Chris Murphy. Yeah, I hope he stubs his toe every night for the rest of his life. I really don't like that guy. All right, super chat from Pork Chop Express. Can I transfer? See what I mean? Just random times. Just starts saying random stuff. Pork Chop Express. Can I transfer my NRA lifetime membership to LOA? I accept.
Mrs. Murray, aye.
Oop. So they're going to be doing this for 10 hours. Just to give you an idea. Like this is my next 10 hours of my life. So follow me on Braden or on X at Braden LOA, and I will keep you updated so you guys don't have to watch
Van
this.
Hollen, aye.
So one of the things.
Lujan.
Okay, you know what? I get it. We get it. Shh. So one of the things, Pork Chop, tonight you're actually going to have an option very similar to that. So bear with me, Pork Chop. Tonight we're gonna do something that no one's ever done in the gun world before, and we're going after their souls. I'm done with this. We are going after their souls directly. All right. And before someone says it, don't worry. I'm not going to try to push the right candidate. That's someone else's shtick. I'm doing something else. Garrett with the super chat. Why is GOA not pushing for it to be added back to the House? I kind of alluded to this earlier. I think legitimately that GOA is focused on the Senate where the bill is right this second, and I don't know what their next steps are. But it would make sense that they wouldn't be talking about the House when the bill's still in the Senate. Once it gets out of the Senate, I would expect the language would change very quickly and very drastically with all gun rights groups. That would be my expectation. But let's keep on going. Super chat from Kenneth Anderson, $5. I think a good strategy would be for the GOA to push for the House to add the HPA in short back in, forcing JD to intervene. Just a thought. In the House, yes, I can totally see that. I can totally see that happening in the House. Now, the Senate might kick it back, and we might have this little ping pong thing, but I could see that. Travis Hutchins with a super chat. We were used as a GOP OP meant to GOP op meant to deliver nothing. I wouldn't say that they've. Let me say, how do I say that? I think going back to the Marie Antoinette kind of vibe, we want our freedom, we're upset, have some cake, and obviously the cake in this scenario would be zero tax. The thing that still bothers me, and I still can't get past, it's really two things. I'll just be really candid and honest with you guys. The first one is the fact that we couldn't have support shorts and suppressors delisted from the NFA because it wasn't a tax. And then the solution to smooth over the feathers of everyone who was all pissed off about it was to lower the tax. That's kind of shitty. The other one is the Republicans went ahead and they were pushing other things forward around as political gamesmanship to basically dare the Democrats to go on record and dare to challenge their initiative. It kind of smacks of you care about one group but not the other. I kind of hate both of those things. Anyway, got some more super chats here. I got to read for you guys. David D, $5. That is the sound of freedom being destroyed. That's the sound of something. Let's go back. See if we hear some more sounds. Yeah. It's just... Okay, there's an interesting... Brian Spiegel with a $50 super chat. Brian, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. You guys are all incredibly generous. Thank you very much for supporting the channel that we're putting out. Okay. Shh. There's Susan. There's Lisa Murkowski. Look, isn't it funny to see all these little fish in the little fish bowl? There's Rick Scott, all in their natural habitats, being all old. Ugh. We need new people. All right. Mr. I can't say your name, sorry. Giot. Mr. Peugeot. I'm going with that. This is a full-on loss, they say. Toby, term limits. I completely agree with term limits. Lost in space. Seriously, though, answer this. If something costs $0, what stops us all from purchasing an infinite number of them and leaving them in our ATF accounts? I mean, that's one way to do it. I mean, the tax stamp would be $0, but like the suppressors wouldn't be. Just throwing that out there. Let's go back over here.
Mr. Kelly, aye.
So literally, guys.
Mr. Booker, aye. Mr. Cruz, no. Mr. Kelly, aye.
You can see the way this is going to be. I'm not going to stay here this whole time and make you watch that, but that is literally what's happening. we don't hate the GOP enough. I'm going to take this opportunity to Kermit the Frog this one and just go. Anyway.
Ms. Warren, aye.
The Uniparty is alive and well. Yeah, I don't think you guys are wrong. All right, so what I'm going to do now, guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on the YouTube channel, and then also make sure you follow me at Braden LOA, because we have got some very, very good work to do on X, Braden LOA, and we're doing it, and I appreciate you guys. All right, first of all, let me turn off the little mumbling of the 90-year-old geriatric leadership of our country. All right, let's go here. So here's where we're at right now as of this moment. I'm going to continue to watch this all day long because I love you guys and you need the updates. So make sure you tune into my X where I'll be typing furiously all my content all day long, just making sure you guys know what's going on. After that, we're going to do another video tonight to kind of recap this and where it all ends up. What happens? Did JD Vance make a move? Did JD Vance not make a move? All of these things are going to be in a synopsis video tonight along with our next steps. It all depends on when this ends. So that's a big piece of this. Basically, guys, where we're sitting right now is if this thing gets out of the Senate, it goes to the House. At that point, we now have from the Senate going to the House removal of the tax fee to zero, and then it stays in the NFA and it goes to the House. Does the House change it? Does the House not change it? That is completely up for debate. We're going to see where this goes as this drama of tyranny unfolds. And of course, I love every single one of you, each and every one of you, just the right amount that makes you feel comfortable. I hope you guys have had an amazing time on this live stream with me, as I did, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.